Hello, welcome back. Last time I made an attempt to understand elevator paradox, and got somewhere, but not as far as I needed to get. I've gotten real fast at this process because I just spent like 2.5 hours trying to work out what to do here. I don't have it, and I'm not going to have it today. Best I can do is show you my current state-of-the-art on what my thinking is here. So, the fundamental problem here... Well, there are a few of them. I'm still convinced that the solution is to put a block here, jump onto it with the blower, throw the blower over to the right, have it fall down there, and then I just blow up to the diamond and I'm done. That requires two objects to come to the top level, a blower and a block. Blower's in here, block is in here. And, wet versions of both of those rooms come just up to the bottom of the pit in the middle. And once I've made this jump, if there's a blower I can get out, but I leave the blower there. If there's no blower, then I need like a stack of 2 blocks to leave there. And to get the blower, I have to somehow come in here, pick it up, and then get back out. The only way I know to do that is to have it end up in the bottom of this room, which breaks its permanence. Now, if I want to use the same technique to somehow get at the block there and escape with it, then what does that mean? I had this idea in my head that I could somehow come here, get temporary access to the blower, keep its permanence, use the blower to get a block out, and then, with the blower's permanence still kept, get out of there. But the problem is, this jump into this pit. I'm now stuck here, unless I have, like, 3 more blocks, I'm not getting out with something. If I have a blower, then I'm getting out but leaving the blower there, making it a problem to get out of the pit in the place where I jumped into it to get the blower. So here's the closest I was able to get. I have a lot of pieces put together for this, which are pretty good. This was some time spent with an assistive device. My assistive device of choice is a text editor where I write out my thoughts and the sequence of actions needed to execute things. So how I arrived at this was complicated, but the story is I take a dry jar of this room into here, leave it there, and turn this into a... Hold on, I need another ingredient here. No, this is right. It is? Yes, okay. Dry jar of this room, inside dry jar of this room, I just leave it there for now. Next step is I take a different dry jar of this room, in here, and I turn this into a wet jar of this room. This loses this chest in the process. I haven't worked out how I'm going to get... Okay, right, so here I have... This is actually just a spare. I don't know what to do with this at this point, but it's, you know, it's the closest I have to a useful resource to take with me here. So I have a series of multi-level jar embeddings here. I'm losing this chest now. And I'm just trying to make the most of every single entry and carrying an object with me that could somehow help me. So here this is a dry jar of room B containing a wet jar of room A containing a dry jar of room B. This is room B with the blower in it. Next thing is I use this dry jar of room A, and this is a dry jar of room B, by the way, that I'm holding. It's not very useful, but I'm taking it in here because I can. So wet jar of room B. I'm losing that chest now. Puzzle's now noticeably impossible because I have only one object I'm entering here. But we can start to imagine. Alright, so here I'm in wet room B, the one with the blower. B for blower. A for block, B for blower. Sure. This thing in my hand is dry room B. Blower comes with me into dry room B that also contains additional jars. So from room B, I leave this here, I enter this jar. Oh. I take this jar, which contains dry room B, down the pit to the block. I leave the block there, enter this, and exit with the blower. So here I've kept the permanence of the blower and moved it into the pit in room A, which I think is pretty cool. It's perfectly safe there. Nothing will happen to remove its permanence. And I have a block in my hand. Things look pretty good except for the fact that I have another pit to exit, and the blower is there. Got a block, that's fun. And just traversing this backward, I'm now here. What I need this object to turn into is something that'll let me get my hands on that blower. The problem is I can't do that because I'd have to enter a pit again to get the blower. So yeah, this is my state of the art. I come in here, there's no blower there. I exit, I'm trapped in a pit, I have only one block, I can't climb out of here. I had this idea... Ooh, and is that still applicable somehow? I think I can't actually make this happen because I lost the chest in that process. So there's this other idea here of, there's a way to get infinite blocks. Ooh, that was neat. I threw the jar straight up and it landed on the thing somehow. That's never happened to me before. So, principle of infinite blocks. If I had a situation where I was in this room, still holding that chest that I used to enter this room, which is possible. Okay, sure. So this situation, where there was a blower at the bottom of that pit. What I could do is go in here, use the blower to transport that block out, have a block in my hand, exit, toss the block in the pit, repeat as many times as I wanted to. Eventually I would have enough blocks. It would be a very soon eventually, I'd only need 3. I'd have enough blocks to go down there, manually pull the blower out, and not really be able to do anything with it. So yeah, that's not too useful, but yeah, there is a situation where I could make infinite blocks and get something out of a pit using blocks. If I somehow had the permanent blower already stashed down in that pit. Oh, hold. Is there a way I could do that by being up top and tossing it in? Ooh. That way I put the blower in the pit. Well, no, that's no better than just going in with it because I can get out of the pit with it. Then just fine. Wait, but okay, so putting the blower in the pit without my body also being there. Well, that would be if I had already taken it out of a place. See, I can never... I'm so limited in where I can take the blower without losing its permanence, and the permanence is definitely key to this puzzle. That's my assumption, but it has led me to dead ends, so maybe that's the assumption that I have wrong. I don't know. The only way to... the whole dance... Let's repeat that dance that I did. Because I have it memorized now. It's not too hard to do. All this stuff. Muscle memory at this point. Real quick to paradox, no problem. The extra resource I ended up not needing was that first dry jar. So to do this with just as many resources... Why am I repeating this? I had a reason. The permanence of that also opens up the possibility of getting it back using a jar. which is why I think it's so important, because I end up at the top. I've traded away chests for wet rooms. Yeah, that's a thing with water. If water and jars are involved, a chest gets traded once for a wet room, frequently, and no more than that. Okay, right, sorry, so I'm trying to do this. So this is inside here. I turn that into dry room B inside wet room A. Losing chest A. Put this into another jar of dry room B. Turn this into wet room B jar. Losing chest B. Okay, yeah, so I don't have the extra jar of dry room B right now. Ding. There's no situation where I'd be standing on top of this and... Well, yeah, again, right. So throwing the blower into the pit is the same as taking it in, because I can escape when the blower is there. There's nothing else I'd want to throw into a pit. I think? Yeah. Other than myself. And I kind of don't want to do that, because it causes me problems. Hold on, there was another possible line of thinking here. The room right above me is room A? Yes. No. B. Room B, where the blower was. I just took it into here. If I'd exit right now carrying this jar, then the blower would be at the bottom but would lose its permanence. Therefore, anything I carry out of here that's not the blower would lose the blower. Okay, so I enter into this. I certainly don't want to exit right now carrying this jar. I want to exit carrying the block. And I can... by going here and... Right, yeah, so this is the key move that I was talking about. So by... The blower is in danger here if I ever enter or exit a wet room A. I cannot ever enter room B. No, sorry, wet room B. I cannot ever enter room A carrying the blower without losing its permanence. Wet or dry, there's acid at the bottom, and it's always immediately lost. And there's no jar shenanigans I can use. I can only exit to room A with the block. Left one, you know. I can only exit using, like, that complicated swap. That's the only way I can safely get the blower here, maintaining its permanence. Now I have a block, and things seem almost good, but they're not quite good. If I could, like, skip some stages as I exit rooms, something cool could happen, but can't do that. Have to exit all the way right back out. Like, just skip this exit here. Nope, no skipping. Not enough blocks to get out. Certainly not enough blocks to get out with a block. And I can have one more object here. It's just that the objects I can actually take are pretty limited in their usefulness. I mean, okay, just for the sake of looking at it. Oh, I shouldn't be doing this. That's what's happening, though. For the sake of looking at it, let's make the extra object that I can take. Let's see, how is this going to be? I'll make it a jar of room A. Where does this go? Okay, dry room B. Okay, so room A jar. Well, first of all, I'm going to need... Yeah, I see how this is. So if this is the extra... I put it inside itself. So I can carry that jar along. So 2 A's, one inside the other. That's what this will be going into. Then I start my chain of embeds that terminates with pulling this out into room A. So yeah, this is where the blower will be on the bottom, safely in the dry, when I pull it out to go into the pit in room A. Then I put it in here, stash it there for a moment as I jar this, so that I can turn that into something wet. This is now inside a wet room A. Chest is lost. This goes into a dry room B, which is where I first stash the blower for later retrieval as I go deeper. This comes in here. That extra jar of dry room A, so yeah, this jar contains exactly what's here already, pretty much. Goes in here. And this is the one extra object I can have here. I can bring it in from the top level, and it comes with me as far as the pit I jump into in room B. This chest is lost again. You know, before I did that, I could have made another jar and kept it at the top level, and somehow that jar would have the blower accessible, which is how I still think this could somehow lead to a viable solution. It's just, I think it's dead-ended. This puzzle has a really long chain of events before I actually hit dead ends. It's one of those, you know? I can go so wrong for so extremely long, which just makes it very time-consuming. I guess the interesting thing about this jar is it contains the room that will have the blower in it, but the blower will be in an unreachable spot is the problem. So I can at least look at the blower as I need it to get out of that pit. You come along, leave the block there for a moment, pull out blower. It's now in the other room. This one. The left room, room A I'm calling it. Alright, here is block. Here I can look at the blower. Taking the block with me wouldn't help me here. Alright, I see the blower. There's also a block in there. Yep, I looked at it. Alright, so yeah, I think I've reached a dead end on that line of reasoning. The thing I accomplished was moving the blower to the safety in room A, but I can't do anything with it from there. Even if I could exit with this block, that blower would still be trapped there. The only way... I'd still have to have a chest. And it's impossible to perform the operation I know to extract the blower using chest A. That cannot be done. It has to be B. The dryness on the bottom is crucial because... Let's look at this. Let's see, that operation involves... I just need some jar from here with anything in it. Let's see, how do I do this? I carry this chest along. Something doesn't seem right here. No, it's a little more complicated than that. I first need the dry B in dry A. So similar to a setup that I was doing there. Then, without touching chest A, with this jar, I come in here. This, in my hands, is dry B. All I do is I take it down here, I put the blower into it, I leave the blower there, I exit. So yeah, I have to be... When I put the blower down in the bottom of a room, it has to be... it has to be safe. It has to keep its permanence as I exit that room. There is one way I could do that in room A that would involve a lot of blocks. Yeah. So, permanence is kept long enough for it to lose itself in this room. Then I exit. I exit losing the chest, trading it for the blower here. The way that I could do that in room A is if I had a stack of 3 blocks and I stuck the blower on top of those. Even that actually doesn't work. Without putting my body in the acid at some point. Like, I could have a stack of 3 blocks here, and then, you know, another stack here, enough to get it underneath this edge. While the blower could get there, I couldn't get it there because my body is too tall to fit in that gap. So no, even that doesn't work. Yep, okay, so I did a long dead-end investigation. That's what I learned. It's not enough to get this puzzle done. Okay, so that's state-of-the-art here. And that's all that I know. Maybe I'll focus on well next time, maybe I'll focus on elevator crystal next time, maybe I'll have some insights and be able to do this. I think those are the only 3 puzzles left, because there just wasn't a possibility for another ruby. So hieroglyphs didn't tell me what I thought they were telling me. It's pretty clear. And yeah, I've accessed every paradox or nowhere that was possible to access. So yeah, just those 3 puzzles left. Elevator, crystal and diamond, well diamond. That's it. Alright, I'll see you next time.